Hi everyone, welcome to another Jujutsu Kaisen video. Now in today's video, I'm gonna talk about a different game which is called Zero Realm Front, or maybe it's better known in the Western world as Jujutsu Sorcerer. Now, the reason why I say it's kind of called Zero Run From, what in the Western world it's called Jujutsu Sorcerer, is because I am gonna show you guys how to download this Chinese version of the game from a platform called X7 Games. And last time when I done a showcase of a game on X7 Games, this one, Jujutsu Kaisen AFK, someone actually pointed out that this was just another version of another game which is called Jujutsu Master Cursed Rivals, etc. So this time I actually done my homework and then I realized actually this one seems to be just the Chinese server or the Chinese version of another game which is called Jujutsu Sorcerers. Now, is there a reason of why you still want to play this game rather than Jujutsu Sorcerers? Yes and no. Obviously, Jujutsu Sorcerer would be slightly better for you guys if you actually know the language because yeah, it's actually English, etc. So you can actually play the game how it is. However, bear in mind the way, especially how Phantom Parade is operating. The Asian version, they tend to be slightly ahead of the schedule. So this one, you may actually get slightly more characters, slightly more content as a result. And even if you are an active player on Jujutsu Sources, it's still not a bad idea to actually download this Chinese server to just get ahead of all of the other players so that you actually know what's going on. Because from what I understood, there's a PvP mode in this as well. So knowing exactly what's going to come up in the future is potentially going to help you right now, even if you're playing the Western publisher of this game. Okay, so how do you actually play this Chinese server or Chinese version of this game? So you're going to go through a platform which is called X7 Games, or at least that's what I would recommend in order to play any kind of Chinese-based game, mainly because there is a regulation in mainland China which require people to upload their identification when they're playing any games. However, X7 Games are able to allow you to bypass that without actually uploading any of your data, which is kind of why I generally recommend X7 Games as the platform to play any Chinese-based games. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share this link in the description below. There's a button here once you click on the link, which is basically download APK. Now, be careful, this APK is not actually for the game itself, but it's for the platform X7 Games, which is essentially like the equivalent of Google Play. So if you actually download this application and then actually install it, essentially what you're going to get is this app here I'll have on my right, which as you can see is just like an equivalent of Google Play with all of the different games that you can actually download and play, etc. Now, once you have actually downloaded this, obviously you can search for Jujutsu Kaisen and will show you all of the Jujutsu Kaisen games available on the platform. One thing you do have to bear in mind, by the way, is that X7 Games is for Chinese-based game, not Japanese-based games. So you won't be able to play the JP server of Jujutsu Kaisen Phantom Parade here. The Jujutsu Kaisen Phantom Parade here, available on X7 Games. It's a Chinese version, which essentially is just the same as a global version. So just something to be slightly wary of. Whatever you see, whatever games you play here will always be the Chinese server. It won't be like the Japanese server or Korean server. So this is more suited for playing games that were published first in China rather than the games which were first published in, JP or Korea, etc. Okay, now once you actually found the game you want to play, in this case will be Jujutsu Kaisen Zero Realm. Obviously, you can then actually click on this to actually download the game and install it, etc. Now, one thing I do recommend for you guys to do before you actually download the game, however, is just to simply log in onto the platform itself. That's just mainly to save you the trouble of later on actually have to then log on to individual games that you download from the platform. So basically what you want to do is you go to this tab here, which basically says me on the bottom right, and then you can click this home button. And what you can do is rather than creating an actual account, you can just put whatever Gmail account you actually want to play. You actually have, for example, here. And then what you can do is press this get code, and it will actually send you a verification code to your email. And you can basically log in and create an account just using your, that verification code rather than, setting up an actual password, for example. So once again, it doesn't actually require you to upload any ID or create any specific account. You can kind of just log in with your existing email. Alright, once you have actually downloaded the game, you would then obviously just click on it to actually load it up and start playing, etc. Now, one thing I did notice is I think because this game have quite high graphic demand, like for example here, you can see like the billboard in the background have animation running constantly. I think because of that, there is actually quite a bit of like demand in terms of specs on your phone, to actually load up the game. So I, for example, was having trouble actually opening up on my LD Player emulator. And I basically don't have to download the latest version of BlueStack to actually get this working. So in case you are facing similar issue as me, then you may need to get either the latest version of emulator or maybe just not actually be playable on your phone depending on what specs your phone currently have, etc. The other thing is, in case you're facing any lagging issue, you can download the VPN set to China. I personally haven't found any issue with like lags, etc. But in case you do, that's something you can try as well. Okay, let me show you the basic gameplay just so you have a rough idea of how this game works in case you never played Jujutsu Sorcerer before. So basically you can bring up to 5 characters and you can choose the formation of how you want to play them. The character is just a standard gacha, so you can have the 5-star character, 4-star, etc. Obviously 5-star would be better. They all have different elements to the character as well, and they all have different skills. Now, one thing you will notice is that in the battle itself, you can't actually control which skill you use. Basically, the character have their already locked in their attacking order. I'll show you in their skill section later on, but basically they all have different skills. And within the skill description, we say like which turn do they activate their attack first, and what's the cooldown period for that attack. Something else also notice the animation that just pop up right now. Now, the animation is definitely not officially licensed by JJK, which is kind of why the character do look different to, let's say, the anime or the manga slightly. It's gonna be like your personal preference, to be honest, whether you actually like this kind of like um animation character because they are displayed slightly differently to how they may be with all of the 3D models, etc. I feel like the characters in general they're all a bit skinnier than how they actually should be, but that's just the way I look at the graphic in this game. It's just a personal taste, I guess. I was going to show you the skill section, for example. So if you actually click on the skills, you can click. Oh, by the way, X7 game have this like translation button, which you can click on and then actually translate everything which is on the screen. So here, obviously, you can see exactly what the skill does, and also, for example, here it would say, for example, this attack is released on the first round, which basically first turn, and has a cooldown for 2 turns. Now the translation is not perfect, obviously, but you should be able to get a gist of exactly what's trying to say by the very different words they're using, etc. Okay, so that's basically the main battle mechanics. Last thing I'll probably show you is just the very different game modes. There's actually quite a lot of different game modes that you can do, and a lot of them are having unlocked here. But you can basically try about. There is also a PvP element, I believe, which I need to figure out where it is. Here, I think. I think this is like the PvP element, so you can actually battle against other players, etc. So that's also quite nice if you do actually want to be that bit of like competitive, etc. And then lastly, let me show you the summoning mechanic. So basically, just your standard temples for multi, etc. There is a pity system, so it kind of said I can't remember what it's starting off with now, but basically right now it says there is another 19 summons left before getting a 5-star character, and also you can choose what character you want, and that will be guaranteed after another 79 summons. And you can kind of see the character available here. There is a lot of different characters from all of the different arcs, so you can see the movie collab from JJK Zero, and you can also see some of the more later on characters from like the Curding arc, etc. So yeah, so there's actually definitely a good range of different characters which are available in this game. Now let me do a temple just so you know kind of the summoning animation as well. Once again, it's kind of your personal taste whether you actually like this kind of graphic or not. The yellow ones, they are basically the 5 stars, so that's kind of what you're aiming for essentially. And I just basically got a dupe of Yuji, so that's basically what it is.